Fact, if you have a bad golf swing and a friend with a good golf swing, that means you have a bad golf swing and a bad friend. In today's episode of Big Boy Pants Golf, we're going to ask the question, why didn't Peter Finch help Rick Shiels have a better golf swing? Fortunately for Big Boy Pants Golf, a subscriber and good friend fixes my swing. Let's get into this episode.
So first thing that's important, I find, is taking a takeaway that's wide with not a great deal of wrist action. So as Pete takes this club away from the golf ball.
That video is from 7 years ago and had 34,000 views. The baby-faced, clean-shaven Rick Shiels teaches something very different from bearded Rick Shiels.
How this golf club just needs to be slightly adjusted and slightly set by changing the wrist angle.
And this is courtesy of bearded Rick Shiels Golf from 2 years ago. So now Rick, 2 years ago, is back to the create width for power as the same advice he gave 7 years ago, skipping the point of setting the wrist from 5 years ago. Here, Rick is explaining that you don't want the club to go too far to the inside or to be too far outside your hands, and that any wrist change will cause those undesired results.
And again, that could lead to inconsistencies. We don't want that.
So when people compliment Rick Shiels' teaching, my first thought is, which lesson or which version of Rick Shiels did you get? Did you get the one from 7 years ago where you have no wrist and wide takeaway? Or the one from 5 years ago who wants you to set your wrists early in what I dub a cuppy position? Or the one from 2 years ago where he's back to no wrists and wide takeaway? To make matters worse, now Rick is learning a bowed wrist takeaway. So if you're one of those people in my comment section going on and on about how you took lessons from Rick in the UK and how he greatly helped your swing, my question is, which version of Rick did you get and which teaching methodology? Get in the comments below. In my smash hit video, I put some videos of my golf swing, and I got a lot of grief for it. One Scottish guy went out of his way to say that my swing was like a lavvy door, which, according to another Scottish guy, that meant lavatory door, and it meant it was very flat. I didn't know Scotland had the internet. That was the most surprising thing. So my initial idea to fix my swing was to get Xander Schauffele and myself in one of those the fly type machines where we both get into one side of the machine, it blends us together, and one of us comes out with a perfect golf swing. The other guy comes out a full Asian male who caddies for the guy with the perfect golf swing because he's now very good with the yardages. You know, math. Fortunately, John Muno reached out to me and he actually provided me on-point instruction that I'm going to share with you.
Your shoulder plane on your backswing is pretty flat. Actually, you're pretty much up here. And one of the things that you can do to get a steeper backswing is to get your back hip out of the way. And you'll notice that when that hip goes back, shoulder goes down very easily here, and you get a really good upright backswing. But what the key is that will really shallow out your bottom of your arc and keep you from hitting any kind of fat or thin shots is you need to get steeper on the way down. You basically, when you go back, your next move cannot be forward. You cannot have this shoulder go on the same plane that it came up. This shoulder has to come under this shoulder. And when you get this shoulder coming down, then you're on the way to a shallow swing. Now, what you don't want to do is to go back here and then to drop that shoulder like that. You don't want to just take this right shoulder and drop it and then fire way out to the right, because then you get that big flip and you get that big flip hook. So the way to avoid that, way you deal with that is try and do a lot of stork drill swings so that you're really good at swinging off of your left foot. Drop it, but don't lean back. Keep everything on this left side and have this left shoulder come inside. And you'll get this feeling on chip shots with that left shoulder coming from the inside, on lob shots, on all your irons and your tee shots. You're going to find solid contact. You're not going to be stall flipping trying to get contact. You're just going to be able to just release all the way through because you're not in your own way. Your left hip moves by itself. Now, I'll go show you on a wall what the drill is and why, how you get the feel.
Before John shows us how to use a wall to fix our overly horizontal shoulder rotation, let's think about Peter Finch standing idly by as Rick Shiels' swing just continues to fall apart. Imagine had Peter stepped in years ago, we wouldn't be where we are today. Rick Shiels would be breaking 75 on every par 71 6,300 yard course that he plays. A true friend, like John over here, would see a bad swing habit and immediately make some videos to help you realize you're doing something wrong and then give you advice how to fix it. Why, Peter Finch? Why? I feel like you spent most of your time focusing on how you can be cheekier than Rick Shiels, which is impossible. Rick is the cheekiest golfer alive.
And to get your backswing more vertical, is your head is going to have the wall on the left side. And as your shoulder goes down, this left shoulder, you'll feel that right hip gets pushed back. You won't even have to really think about straightening your leg. As that shoulder, if it stays down, your spine, in order for that to get down out of the way, your right hip's going to go back. One thing to help that feeling is that when you get on your towards the top of your backswing, if you can sort of feel like you're really just letting your chest face the sky, and you almost feel like you're just looking up, but this right shoulder, in order for it to go down and not out, in other words, for this shoulder to go down and not out, the back hip has to get out of the way. To get that downswing to be more inside, as your right shoulder comes down, the only way for it to go in front of you is for this left hip to get back out of the way. And all you have to do is think about right shoulder inside of left shoulder. It's much shallower, and I think you'll find success with that. Give it a try.
I don't know if you noticed this, but people from Oklahoma say the word try as if it's 3 syllables. Let's all give a big thank you to John in the comment section for that amazing lesson. I immediately went to the range again and tried to put all these pointers into play. This is me feeling like my left shoulder is going down and my right hip is going back.
What is up, Big Boy Pants Golf? I'm out here in Rio de Janeiro at the beaches of Leblon here tonight to ask Brazilians what exactly do they know about the sport of golf.
Yes, you heard that correctly. Me and my boy Jake are going to help grow the game of golf, starting first with Brazilian women. It's a whole new series coming out. You're going to love it. No more of these 95% of golfers do this wrong, or this is the perfect club for you.
It's a beautiful night. The World Cup just happened. Brazil just won a game. So now we're going to go over and ask what exactly they know about the sport. So follow me and let's go. Pronto? Sink. All right.
As I was hitting these shots, in order to focus on steepening my shoulder turn, I actually had to focus on almost making a figure 8 swing where the club, to me at least, felt it was going 45 degrees outside the target line, because what felt straight back to me was actually me whipping it inside, causing me then to come over the top to hit the ball in any capacity. Now, with this figure 8 feel I feel that I have a lot more time in the transition, and it's really made me feel like I'm shallowing the club a little bit more. It's still a work in progress, but how does an ant eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you next time, my friends, potentially with Brazilian women everywhere.
Okay.
So, what do you know about the sport of golf?
I know there's a tapu and a ball,
There is.
and you had to hit the ball,
The golf ball.
yeah.
Absolutely.